Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a couple of weeks since I last uploaded a video, but I was brainstorming some new topics for this for future videos, and I ran into this topic. I mean, it just hit me like most recently because there's a lot of personal things going on, which made me think about this topic. And luckily for me, I did a little bit of research on the topic, and I ended up finding a good article about the topic I'm going to be talking about. I feel like most of us with a disability we don't really think you know, about this topic because, when you have a terminal illness, you don't think you're gonna, live, you know, long, because with my disability, there's statistics that says that you're gonna live a certain age. But I have read a lot of articles and stuff that people live past the age they supposedly, they live longer. They live long when they have muscular dystrophy. There are people with muscular dystrophy. They're living longer. They're going into their 30s, 40s, 50s, and it used to be like in your mid 20s that the person that was their life expectancy. But anyway, now it's like there's people that are living longer, but that's not the point of my video. No, about I'll probably make a video of life expectancy and stuff, but for this is what I'm trying to get at. Is like, who's gonna take care of you, and stuff where you're gonna live, because most people with a disability or like muscular dystrophy or any disability, their main caregivers is either their parents or basically their parents. But if for some reason you outlive your parents, that's the title of my, like you see in my, title of my video. What happens if you outlive your parents, and you're still alive or whatnot? What's gonna be your plan? I know it's probably hard to discuss that. I feel like it just hit me a few weeks ago because I'm gonna be turning 25 this upcoming Monday. So it's like, who's gonna take care of me and stuff? What am I gonna do? Where I'm gonna live? All that started like coming to mind. For a lot of people, especially like I said, those that reach 30, 40, 50, living with muscular dystrophy, it's like, who's gonna take care of them if you don't have like a family member? Like in my case, feel like I don't have someone that I feel like, oh, you be like, because everyone has their things to do. It's hard for someone to take care of you. A family member, a friend, a family friend. They all have things to do, and it can be complicated. It's not like an easy thing. But anyway, I found this article about an individual that's 43 years old living with muscular dystrophy. So this is what he has to say in his article about his article's called "What If I Outlive My Parents," which was created April 21st, 2022. It's recent, not that far. And this individual has his own email address to reach out. I mean, it would be nice to have someone on my channel who has muscular dystrophy. Maybe I'll reach out and see if you would like to be on my channel. I'm trying to, my goal on my channel is like at some point have guests with muscular dystrophy or any disability, talk about their story because in my, if you've been following my channel for quite some time, I talk about my experiences, my stories, but Not every story is the same, so hopefully we'll see. What if I outlive my parents? Outliving our parents is how life usually happens for the vast majority of people. It's always hard to continue living a life without your parents, but for those of us to change, even a bit scarier. And the next part of the article, find the courage to plan. Yeah, it can be hard. Most of us, like I said, never really thought about it until now, and stuff. As I was growing up, learning about the change to understand that mine wouldn't be like my brother, sister, or anyone else I knew, nor would I would be able to actually look forward to reaching my dreams in life because I just wasn't going to live long enough to see that happen. Which that's like I said, basically, if you search, the statistics is gonna say that people with do change don't live long, but this is what he has to say. Also, I have discovered as an adult that change is by no means predictable in any area, especially life expectancy. The average life expectancy of those living with Duchenne is now 10 years more than it was a decade ago. See, like that's what I'm saying. It used to be like if you look at the statistics, it's gonna show they live into their early mid 20s, late 20s, but now, like I said, you're living longer, 10 years more than it was a decade ago. Imagine a decade ago. It's not that long. Many of us are living well into our 30s. In my case, even into our 40s. The person that made this article, like I said, he's 43 years old, living with muscular dystrophy. Like there's so many cases like him, like he's saying, some, like I mentioned, some living in their 30s, 40s, 50s. How does one with the chain find the courage to even plan for the day they no longer have their parents to continue being there for them? I mean, I feel like nobody really plans when will this happen, but I feel like thinking about it, I've been, you know, thinking about this, having a plan if forever any case something happens, you never know. Then the next part of his article is called "My Mom, My Caregiver, My Best Friend, My Voice." And this person, this is what he says: At 41, it simply scares me to be away from my mom for more than a few hours. The only time that I have been away from her more than a few hours when I was hospitalized. Even then, most of the time she stayed with my mom, my everything in the world. Not only is she my mom, but she is also my primary caregiver, my best friend, even my boys. My mom's the only one who truly knows how to care for me. Yes, my dad has an idea of what caring for me entails, but he still doesn't really know. But he never took the time to get to know everything that my mom does on my daily basis, especially when I was growing up. This is somewhat of my case, like what he says. This is basically reminds me of somewhat of my case. Some what he mentioned right now is a little bit of what I dealt with growing up. Now that I'm on although it's hard for him to really grasp all that goes into my current answer why we do certain things certain way. Caring for those of us with Duchenne isn't just about ensuring that we are safe and how truly caring for us more of and then express. You need to know what makes us happy, be with us through all our struggles, a shoulder for us to cry on and on to find comfort in, but mostly it just means always being there no matter what. Words are great, but actions speak much more louder. This is what makes my relationship with my mom more than just my mom. This special connection that we have, something that most will never truly understand. No longer having that is what scares me the most about the person outliving my parents, especially my mom. So that's what he has to say. Then his next part of his article is it could happen in a heartbeat. What happens to me if I live out my parents? This is a very good question, one I find more important quite often. The question really came to front for me when my both were in a car accident about a year ago and a half. Thankfully, they were okay, but the realization how quickly everything could just change in a heartbeat has caused me to really worry what my life would look like if I no longer had my parents. Everything happens in a heartbeat when you least expect it. Outliving my parents, especially my mom, or at least outliving her abilities to continue in my primary care. Something that is always on my mind, especially with her getting older and not finding it easy as it once was. Now with the COVID world that we find ourselves in today, it could become reality at any time. Like I said, this article was created in 2022 when COVID was, so that's why he mentions COVID in this article. So next part of it is gonna mention some options, like options that you know options you might have to look into. If for some reason your parents can't take care of you. I know that I do have a great family. It does allow me something not I will have always have them. My brothers and sisters will do everything in their power to make sure that I was taken care of, but I also wouldn't want to have to stop living their life to care for me either, especially with them having their own families, which it can be true. A family member might have their things to do, and obviously you don't want them to be like interrupt whatever they're doing in life, especially if they have a family. That's quite a dilemma for me to reconcile because at some point that will most likely I find myself in. I hope that's not something I will need to do anytime soon, but I know that I should have also plans in place for when the time comes. It's a very clear thing for me to even discover my family because not having my mom is something that I can't even imagine. Like for me, I don't really have option one. I feel like not an option. Don't really have anyone that I feel like could be be the person to take care of me if it comes to family. Then there's option two, underpaid caregiver. I know it's unnecessary good thing that I only rely on my mom, but for us, that's the reality we have lived for my entire life. I live in a small town. There really no other option of care for me besides my parents. My town's a little bit. It's getting bigger as time goes by, so I'm not worried about living in a small town. There are programs to help of finding qualified people to care for me is almost impossible, which is true. You can interview tons of people, but if you don't feel like they're qualified, it can be a problem. If I did find someone that the pay is not exactly up to par for the level of care, the pay is probably the biggest hurdle by far that we are have in finding the quality of care. Which yeah, because it's a lot of work. And I don't feel like it's fair, like to pay someone very, little for all the, be underpaid, like he says. I don't feel like it's fair for the person, but it's like it's hard, Not it's not that you don't want to pay the caregiver more. It's you might not have the possibility, to give them a better pay. It's not that you don't want to, you know. Option three, overhauling government program. It should be so much simpler if there were national standard in place regarding care. If there were national program providing their care of those of us would change instead of having different standards in program for every state. The funding for this care it needs to be updated to fit the realities of the real world and must be adapted to fit the individual needs of each person. One size fits all, not practical in the world of disability. All politicians believe that if the funding provided to an compromise to fit their specific needs, it will cost more. In reality, if you get the specific care you need, you tend to be much healthier, which in the long run actually saves the government money. That's his opinion on that. And then the final part of his article is called The Answer. So what happens to me if I outlive my parents? I do wish I had the answer, and I'm sure many others in the community wish they had that answer as well. Yeah, because there's no right or wrong answer here. On one hand, it's a good thing that we are now living long enough to even have this conversation, which is true. Something positive comes out of a complicated situation. I feel like. On the other hand, it doesn't make it any easier for us to find the answers to the question of what happened to us if we outlive our parents. I know that the chain of everything are working very hard to continue obtain the support in this area of our life, but we definitely need so much assistance in navigating the world of care. And this is what he has to say. I could continue speaking on this for hours, but I will leave it here for now. The topic needs much more attention. Hopefully, with us discussing it today, it will lead to the real change that our care system so desperately needs. So that's what he says at the end of the article. My opinion is like I thought it was a good topic to discuss on this channel. I feel like a lot of us we don't really think about it, and if we do, we end up like this individual that wrote this article talking about his own personal opinion. It's a conversation that's won't it won't end here. It'll keep. It won't end. Like it won't end. We can be here. I can be here doing hours and hours talking about this topic on my channel, but we'll still not find the right answer. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer here. So yeah, it can be complicated topic, complicated situation, but hope you guys like this video. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Until next time.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride.